1 set per muscle group, 2 sets for lower body muscle groups, is recommended during an initial training period of 6 to 12 weeks, followed by a progressive increase up to 3 to 4 sets per muscle group. Okay. So that's very specifically worded, right? What am I saying? I'm saying initially 1 set per upper body muscle, 2 sets for lower body muscles is as effective as multiple sets. And that sets per exercise, just like any other acute variable, is going to progress over time. You know, I think it's kind of weird that the sets, we do this weird thing where we're like, oh, we'll just jump to 3 sets. Well, you didn't jump to a 225-pound bench press. Like, why do we get to jump to this high volume of activity, but we don't do that with load or reps or anything else, right? Individuals with a goal of optimizing hypertrophy strength or power should likely not exceed 5 to 6 sets per muscle group. There's actually a decrease in performance when we start getting into really high volumes. It's not good. More than 3 or 4 sets per muscle group results in relatively small increases in performance, suggesting that advanced exercisers should really consider increasing other relevant variables to their goal before exceeding 3 sets per muscle group. If you get to that 3 sets per muscle group, I might suggest really concentrating on increasing load or increasing reps before you start thinking about adding a 4th set. And definitely before you start thinking about adding a 5th set. Additionally, the number of sets per muscle group should decrease when introducing power exercises, that's ballistic or plyometric exercises, or supersets. That last one should go without saying, right? If we're doing supersets, we're kind of doing 2 exercises per muscle group back to back. But for some reason, I think practically speaking, a lot of us will start supersets and do the same number of sets we were doing before. So if we were doing 3 sets for chest, let's say, and we switched to supersets, we still do 3 supersets. But now what you just did was double your volume, and that's a lot. Okay, so here's the recommendations written out in a little simpler form. General recommendation: a progressive increase from 1 to 5 sets per muscle group per session. Simple enough, right? Specific recommendations: novice exercisers, 1 to 2 sets per upper body muscle group, 2 to 3 sets per lower body muscle group. That's for that initial 6 to 12 weeks. Experienced exercisers, 2 to 5 sets. Okay. So experienced exercisers, we're going to talk about this. We know that 1 set isn't enough, but notice that that upper level again is sets per muscle group per session. And I want you to think about how many advanced exercisers you know doing the crime to their body. That is 3 exercises, 3 sets per muscle group. That would be 9 sets per muscle group. That's a lot. Power exercises, 1 to 4 sets. Supersets, 1 to 4 sets. Like, these are kind of the ranges that work best. All right, so I wrote a couple routines out here for you guys. Thought you guys would think that was a good way to see how this all applies. So this was a novice exercise, and we're talking about that initial training period. Load, obviously I started kind of light here, 12 to 20 repetitions. Sets per exercise, 1 to 2 sets for upper body muscle groups, 2 to 3 sets per lower body muscle groups. So that's right in our recommendations from the previous slide. And then rest between exercises is 1 to 3 minutes. If you had seen our course on rest between sets, you know that optimal rest between sets is 3 minutes for the same muscle group, or roughly 3 minutes for the same muscle group. And the amount of rest is actually dependent on the amount of sets per exercise you do, which we'll come back to talking about here in a second, not the goal you have. Now, since this happens to be a novice exerciser, we can almost call this a circuit because they're only going to be doing 1 set per exercise.